All right, everyone. Welcome to the matchup between St. Peter's and the St. Louis Rockets. 14UB1. Is this the last game of the season? This is the last regular season. One more regular season game. All right, let's get it on. Parrish on the faceoff. St. Peter's collects it up, sends it into the zone. Shot wide right. St. Peter's from the point, down low, follows right there. Sends it up the boards. St. Peter's sends it back down again. Now Perry, and it's blocked and covered by the St. Peter's goalie. Face off back to Young. He shoots it, and the goalie covers. Face off back to Young again. Backhand shot by Akins, goes wide left of the net there, behind the goal. Now Akins picks it up. He centers it, no, shoots. Gets deflected out in front. Now Gardner sends it back deep. Akins and Ryman chase after it. And St. Peter's tries to pass it out of the zone. It bounces off of the Rockets player and goes on goal for a cover. Helwig on the faceoff. Salmon's Benoit in on defense. Giorgio and Alexander in on the wings. Helwig loses a stick. Now Giorgio with the shot, but it's deflected out in front. Now right in front of the goal, Helwig shot and covered by the St. goalie. 13:06 left in the first period. Rockets keep the same line. Helwig face off. Giorgio sends it back to Salmon. Salmon. It's deflected out front. Benoit sends it back deep into the zone. Bounces off the goal. Salmons pinches up, sends it back in. Now Helwig behind the net. He's got Giorgio right in front of the net. Center pass, but not quite to where Giorgio could handle it. Now St. Peter's is heading back the other way. And that's going to be offsides on St. Peter's. Rockets change. And if in the last game, I did get some Mediterranean food though. It was good from Mid Rivers Mall. St. Peter's now intercepted by the Rockets. Sent into the zone. That's going to be icing. No, they wave it. St. Peter's trying to get out of the zone. The Rockets pressing. Then the Rockets lose the zone. Follows picks it up in the neutral zone. He sends it back up the ice to Parrish. It bounces off his stick. No icing there. Follows now to Jansen, who sends it around the horn. St. Peter's picks it up. The Rockets lose the zone. Kai sends it back in. Offsides on the Rockets. You can see it in the video. Face-off won by St. Peter's. They send it into the neutral zone. And that's going to... They're going to... Gardner in on defense. Kai Aikens on the face-off. Right in front of the net. Peter shoots it. Goes barely misses. Another shot just barely misses. St. Peter's in control of the puck out to the slot, but they can't get a shot off there. Then the Rockets send it up the ice to Ryleman. Young pinches up, tries to send it deep, then gets back in position. Kai in the corner, trying to find a place to go. He gets tripped, but really wasn't a real trip. Now Hellwig battling, and they blow the whistle. I guess they... cross-check on St. Peter's is going to send number 25, Lehrhardt, to the bench. Or, I'm sorry, to the box. Rockets now on a power play with 10:28 left in the first period. Hellwig sends it back to Benoit. Benoit skates up, passes over to Alexander. Alexander with the shot. Another Rocket with the shot. Giorgio with the shot there again, but then the goalie covers. For those of you that were watching the last game, for some reason I ran out of battery, which I had it completely plugged in, but we missed the last 7 minutes of the third period. Rockets ended up winning that game with no problems. What was the scores? 5-2? 5-3? Giorgio had a hat trick in that last game. I think it was 7-3, yeah. I know you all think I should know that. Now the refs collecting themselves, not sure what they're trying to figure out here. I have an extra mic. All right, everybody resets. $10:15 left in the first period.
Hey,
What's up,
buddy?
How much?
How are you?
Good. Hellwig on the draw, sends it back. Salmons ends up with it, sends it back deep into the zone. Giorgio behind the net. Now Hellwig tries to center it, but it gets deflected, then back to St. Peter's. Tries to send out of the zone. Benoit in the neutral zone, sends it up to Alexander. Alexander skates in. He's got Hellwig to the left. Takes up shot. Oh, puck's right in front of the net. Trying to get another shot off, but can't quite get there. Salmons keeps it in, flicks it back in. Nice play by Salmons. Now Giorgio behind the net, comes out, sends it up to Benoit. Benoit sends it back deep again. Hellwig picks it up. Now Salmons with the puck. He sends it back to Alexander, who flips it in, and everybody and a couple guys go for a line change. It's going to be icing on St. Peter's. They tried to make a pass, and he missed it, so it's going to be icing on St. Peter's. Take the puck down the other side of the ice. Parrish on the face-off. St. Peter's in control, but it gets back to Fallis. Fallis sends it deep. Around the corner. Wagner starts to pinch and then holds up. Now Fallis. McLaughlin almost had a shot. Now he has it again. He passes it, tries to make a pass to Parrish, who was wide open, but the stick from St. Peter's is on. Oh, pass right in front of the net. Rockets can't quite capitalize on that one. Everyone's at full strength, if you didn't notice. Now Fallis flips it up to McLaughlin. McLaughlin makes a pass to Parrish, but gets past him for a Rockets icing. 7:44 left in the first. Face off back to Young. Young flips across the ice and it goes all the way to the other side. Jansen couldn't quite get on that one for an icing on the Rockets. Face off to Kai. He flips it into the neutral zone. St. Peter's is going back the other way, but Aiken sends it deep into the zone. Goalie flips it back to the boards. Jansen's right there. Gets checked across the boards. It's going to be offsides on the Rockets. Rockets change all 5 guys out, as does St. Peter's. St. Peter's changes everybody but their D, it looks like. That brings in Benoit and Salmons. Hellwig on the faceoff. Alexander and Ryleman in on offense. Face-off controlled back to Alexander. Alexander skates into the zone. Sends it a little bit deeper. Benoit tries to pinch, but can't contain the puck. Now St. Peter's going the other way. Then they lose the puck. St. Peter's sends it up to the point. He sends it on net and deflected by Mormon. Now Salmons sends it up to Ryleman. Ryleman makes a quick pass to Hellwig, but they lose control of it. Now right in front of the net, Alexander does a great job of pushing the player outside. Shot goes off the net, back of the net. Now St. Peter's behind the net. They send it up to the point, who was in the slot, but he loses it. Shot from the right top circle, and that's glove saved, covered by Mormon. Parrish on the face-off, sends it back to the Rockets. Follis and Wagner in on defense. McLaughlin, Parrish, and Giorgio in on, defense and then offense. I think you all know which position they play by now. Pass up to Giorgio in the middle of the ice, but not quite able to keep it up. St. Peter's back in the neutral zone. There, Wagner sends it back in. It's going to be offsides on the Rockets with 4:57 left in the first period. Scores all tied up. Pretty evenly matched right now. Pretty even match right now. This Rockets team tends to start off a little slow and pick themselves up in the middle of the second period. We'll see how we go today. Face off back to Gardner. He sends it into the zone. Then right to St. Peter's, who flips it right back into the Rockets zone now. Gardner chasing after it. St. Peter's behind their own net. They center pass, but nobody's there now. Shot from the point, who came into the slot. Rifles past the net, wide left, I believe. Now the Rockets send it to the other side of the ice for an icing. 4:19. Benoit and Salmons come in for the Rockets on defense. Hellwig on face-off. Alexander off the face-off. Centered by the Rockets. Salmons kicks it back out, though. Back to the point. Blocked in front by Benoit, then Salmons picks it up. Reverses direction. Sends it up the ice, gets deflected by St. Peter's. Now a great pass to Alexander, just in front of him. Now back to Salmons, then to Alexander. Alexander's got Kai right in front of the net. He tries to make a pass, but it gets deflected by St. Peter's. Now Salmons holds it inside the blue line again. And now St. Peter's back into the neutral zone, but Benoit steps up and blocks that from going. Now it's St. Peter's. Oh, they had two guys against Salmons, but they couldn't make a play there. Cross-check in the back. The Rockets trying to get it out of the zone now. Shot goes on net to the left. Some stick play in front of the net. A shot eventually ends up on Mormon's glove where he covers it. 2:48 left in this first period. Parrish on the face-off. He sends it back to Ryleman and then to Fallis. Now to Ryleman again. Shot blocked by Fallis and then sent into the neutral zone. Giorgio's chasing after it. Giorgio center pass right now. Ryleman right in front of the net. Backhand shot is blocked by the goalie, and then he dives on it to make sure that nobody gets a chance at a second shot there. Great play by Ryleman and Giorgio moving the puck. Parrish on the face-off again. Ends up in Fallis' hands. He's trying to get it deeper. Then they lose it into the zone. Now Giorgio flicks the puck up, chases after it, and then the Rockets are off sides. Didn't even give Giorgio a chance there to get back on sides. Young and Gardner enter for defense. McLaughlin, Aikens, and Jansen in on offense. And the draw by Jansen goes back to Gardner, who sends it deep into the zone. Rockets dump and chase in. Young rifles one, bounces off of Aikens' stick and goes on net for a cover by the goalie. 1:49 left in this first period. Aikens back to Young off the draw. Aikens rifles it through, bounces off of Aikens again. Face-off one back to Young again. He sends it up, but it's intercepted by St. Peter's. St. Peter's crosses the blue line past the red line. And then Young's right there on the other side of the zone. Now Aikens chasing after it. Center pass to McLaughlin. Shot and blocked by the St. Peter's goalie again. Shot from Young at the blue line, rifles it across. Another center pass by Jansen. Rockets can't connect on that one. Now St. Peter's is headed back the other way. They got a guy. They got an open shot. Oh, and they shoot it wide left, and then it goes out of bounds with 46 seconds. Period. St. Peter's had a Salmons and Benoit in on defense with Hellwig at center. Downs and Alexander in on the wings. Now Hellwig sends it around the boards. St. Peter's sends it in deep. And then a shot from the point bounces off of Benoit and then goes to Hellwig. Now Hellwig passes it up to Downs. Downs rifles it around and St. Peter's sends it back into the zone again. Benoit chasing after. 10 seconds period. And that's going to end the period with the score all tied up, 0-0. Parrish comes in at center to start the second period with Kai and Giorgio, Benoit and Salmons. 15-minute periods. It's going to make it a late night tonight. With plenty of games to tune into this weekend if you're following the St. Louis Sports Dadcast. Got some 10U games. I think we got a high school game maybe. I don't pay attention until the day of. Salmons gets a stick on it, stops that play dead in its tracks. Now St. Peter's shot. Straight from the slot. Mormon didn't have much of a chance on that one. You can't leave a guy open that much right in the middle of the ice. St. Peter's goes up 1-0 with 14:28 left in the first period. And Ryleman. Cross the blue line. And then now lose the zone. Now Follis skates up the ice. He's in the lead. He's got Jansen shot. Now sent back in. Back into the neutral zone. Goalie. Face off inside St. Peter's zone. 13. Not Georgia McLaughlin in on the other wing. Skates it up. Oh. But he loses the blue line. Not quite hard enough pass. Rockets bat. Now Alexander comes through the neutral zone, gets held up right in front of me. Hellwig picks it up, tries to, and sends it deep into the zone. Just picks it up. Young comes in, sends it back in deep. Alexander now behind the net, tries to center it. Now behind the net, tries to center it. Giorgio is right there. Giorgio is right there. there, just can't quite hit the zone. There, just can't quite hit the zone. Keep the zone. Keep the zone. Gio up 2 downs. And then he centers it, but nobody's there. Salmon sends it back around, bounces it off of Parrish. Benoit tries to pinch. Now it's 2-on-1 versus Salmons. They make a pass. They got it. Oh, what a breakaway. He's got it 1-on-1. Yeah. He can't quite get it to fall. Great play by Giorgio to get there. Now Salmon steps up. St. Peter's who brings it into the zone. Now they're ahead. They got a breakaway by Mormon, and the puck lays out in front, and St. Peter's doesn't take advantage of it. Now Giorgio's heading back the other way. Now he's with it behind the net, but the goalie's there to protect that. Follow shot. Mormon steps up, sends it to the right. Now Hellwig Jansen. That was Jansen. Sorry, it sends it around. Kai chases. He sends it into the neutral zone. Now Aikens with it. Sends it up to their winger on the boards. Aikens. And now Wagner's over at the point. He pinches and then shoots at 44 left in the second period. Young and Gardner come in on defense. Alexander, Hellwig, and Giorgio in on offense. St. Peter's sends it up, but then gets it back to Gardner, to Alexander, to Young. Young shot. Wow. Hellwig then tries to do a quick little turnaround shot, and that goalie's all over it today. 8:32 left in the second. Most of these good opportunities we've had, the goalie's been right there and playing in great position. Now Young sends it right on net, ends up wide left. I think it bounced off the goalie. Now Alexander in the corner. He flips it up to Hellwig. Hellwig changes direction. He centers it, but there's nobody but a St. Peter's guy there. Now Rockets lose the zone. Young's there. He flips it back across the boards. St. Peter's pass over to the right circle, blocked by Mormon in front, deflected to Young. Young gets tripped, but they don't call it. Now back to the point for St. Peter's and intercepted by Alexander. And now back into the neutral zone where St. Peter's has to reset the puck. They send it back in again. They reset really quick. Across the ice, they look like they've got 6 guys on the ice compared to us right now. The Rockets just look like they're just chasing everybody all around. Now Alexander with the puck. He sends it into the neutral zone. He passes it up to Giorgio, who is right on the blue line. Back check was right in play. Giorgio gets back on ice, back on side, sends it over to Alexander. Alexander centers it to nobody, and St. Peter's picks it up, sends it across the ice, and now St. Peter's heads the other way. They got somebody in front of the net. Shot deflected off Mormon. Rockets need to get more physical in this game. Now Giorgio, he's got two guys in front of him. He centers it, but it ends up right on net. He had McLaughlin over to the right. If that pass would have got through, McLaughlin would have had a pretty clean shot, I think. 6:43 left in the second period. Parrish now in on the ice with Salmons, Benoit, Ryleman. And McLaughlin. Rockets behind the ice there. Ryleman now pushes it out. McLaughlin center pass to Parrish. Parrish doesn't get all of it with the backhand there, and the goalie covers to give us a face-off again inside of the St. Peter's zone. Face-off, Parrish. Benoit sends it to Ryleman. Ryleman back to Benoit. Back to Ryleman. Parrish centers it. Now Salmons has it right in front. He sends it deep. Now Benoit passes it up to Ryleman, but it bounces off the St. Peter's stick and goes into the bench. Aikens now on the face-off with Kai. And Downs, Follis, and Wagner on defense. Wagner now with the puck, reverses direction, gets it over to Downs. Downs sends it up. Point comes up and sends it, tries to send it on net. Now a pass from Kai to Aikens, but then that's intercepted. Now Follis. And puck goes around the horn back to the point, who shoots it and then gloved by Mormon and covered. 5:24 left in the second. Rockets are down 1-0. Giorgio on the face-off. Back to the point for St. Peter's. Shot. It's low though. Deflected out in front now with Follis. Bounces off the boards. No icing. St. Peter's picks it up in the Rocket zone. They send it up the ice. Now Giorgio right in front of the net. Takes a shot. And that's covered by the goalie. Now Giorgio in at center again. Jansen on the right wing. Gardner Young. Young rips one. Oh! Jansen had a chance there after Young rifled it off the goalie. Couldn't quite get there. Gardner there loses the puck. Now St. Peter's centers it. They got somebody right on the point. Deflected by Mormon. Great save by Mormon. I don't know how he saw that, really. He made a move. They had a chance, but he kept it out. Now St. Peter's again centers it. Mormon covers. 4:20 left in the second. Helwig now on the face-off. Salmons and Benoit back in on defense. Shot deflected off Mormon. St. Peter's enters the zone. Now Salmon's behind the net. To Hellwig. Hellwig up to McLaughlin. Salmons flips it into the zone. Back to the point, though. Doesn't get back through the zone. Now it's back to Hellwig in the corner. Hellwig sends it around. St. Peter's bodies the puck against the wall. Now, again, from the slot, shot from St. Peter's, and it's blocked by Mormon. Now Benoit sends it up to Rauman. Back to Benoit. And then they can't get it out of the zone. And now they do. Rauman with the puck. He sends it deep and goes for a line change. Rockets needed to do that. 2:40. St. Peter's now looking to pass it up. They do so. Wagner follows it on defense. Akins, Kai. Shot from the point of St. Peter's. Momentum is not in their favor right now. Akins chases after it. No icing called. Follis. Wagner steps over and tries to send it deep in the zone. Gets held up in the middle of the boards there with Kai. And then Parrish comes over and tries to send it and gets it into the corner at least. Now back over to Wagner on the other side. He sends it back around the corner. Parrish chases after it. Rockets looking tired with 1:20 left in the second period. Akins now with the puck. He sends it behind the boards, or behind the net. Now Parrish centers it. Now Follis has it. Top of the circle shot. Off the glove of the goalie. And it got caught up in the net, and they're going to blow it dead with 1:02 left in the second period. Whew. Exciting, fast-paced game. Rockets just need to step it up just a little bit. Just make that better pass. Get to the puck a little quicker. Gardner and Young in on defense. Back to Young. Young rifles it in. Bounces off the goalie. Alexander sends it back, flips it in. St. Peter. And now Gardner sends it back into the zone. Flipped into the neutral zone. Georgie almost had an edge there. Now the Rockets flip it down into the St. Peter's zone. St. Peter's recollects himself. They got at center ice. Gardner, Young, and 3 St. Peter's guys. Young hooks him. I think that was a hook. Now Young's after it. And then loses it. Now Ryleman's right there to circle around, and that's going to end the second period. Rockets are down 1-0. Game's starting to get a little bit chippy. We'll see how it plays out in the third period. The Rockets start the third period here with Rauman, Akins, Jansen, Gardner, and Young. 15 minutes separates us and the end of the game. Let's see what happens here tonight. Face off, controlled by the Rockets. Now Rauman with it. He crosses the blue line. He skates around the side. He's got Akins in the center. He does it, ends up shooting it, and the goalie covers. Akins on the draw. Sends it back to Gardner. Gardner's shot goes wide left. Now Akins from the slot. Shot. Deflected, deflected up and over the net. Shot deflected by Akins in front. Good defensive play there. Now passed up to Jansen, and then from Gardner to Giorgio. Ends up on net. Deflected out in front. Now over to Hellwig. Hellwig's trying to center it. And now covered by the St. Peter's goalie. 13:35 left in the third. Benoit and Salmons come in on defense. Hellwig, Giorgio, and Alexander in on offense. Rockets really got to make something happen. Salmons picks it up, bounces it off the boards, up to Giorgio. Giorgio flips it up to Hellwig, but they lose the zone. Oh no, Hellwig keeps it in. Oh no! They call it icing, and offsides, and that was not offsides. He was right on the blue line. Watch the video. Parents not happy about that one, but that's what they called, so that's what it is. 13-19. Face off. Hellwig gets it to Giorgio. Giorgio tries to send it in deep, but it gets deflected out in front. Now Hellwig has it and sends it in deep to Giorgio. Now Wagner steps up. Can't quite control the puck. Now they've got two guys. Alexander skating hard. Hellwig back checks and slows the whole play down. Great play by Hellwig. And now St. Peter's loses the zone. Giorgio's skating the other way. He's looking to center it. Now Alexander, he centers it to Giorgio and it goes in! Hellwig to Giorgio for the goal. Great play by the Rockets there to tie the score with 12:38 left in the game. That goalie isn't letting anything in, but he didn't have a chance on that one. He's playing a heck of a game tonight. Parrish on the faceoff. Fallis, Wagner in, McLaughlin, and Coughlin, and Kai. Maybe that's going to give the Rockets the momentum, getting the momentum heading back in their direction. Off the helmet of McLaughlin. Now Parrish gets checked right in front of the net. Cross check, no call. Now passed up to Kai. Kai in the corner. Centers it to Parrish. Now again, Kai centers it to Parrish. Parrish shot. And covered, or saved and covered by the goalie. 12:01 left in the game. Face off Parrish, Lawas to St. Peter's. There. He's goes back to St. Peter's, now to Young. Young rifles it in on glove. Now Ryleman in the corner. Aiken's shot from the slot, but it's deflected out in front. Now Young sends it deep, but it goes off Jansen really hard. Wow. Again, Young sends it in. Now Aikens. And gets the goal by Aikens! On the play and get a goal there to go up 2. Great shot by Aikens. They caught St. Peter's off guard there. They didn't know what was happening. Great. Now Benoit and Salmon's in on defense. Alexander Jordan on offense. Pelwick chases after the puck. St. Peter's tries to send it back, and Benoit keeps it in play. Now St. Peter's with it again. Salmons can't quite get there to keep it in the zone, or he didn't have a chance to keep it in the zone. He sends it off the side of the board, gets it out of the zone. Now it's Alexander, pushes it up the ice, but St. Peter's gets it back. Shot by St. Peter's is glove saved by Mormon and covered. 10-22. Face off controlled by the Rockets, but they can't get it out of the zone. Now St. Peter's from the point. They try to send it a little bit deeper. Follis is right there. Now Wagner there. He flips it around the side of the boards over to Kai. Kai tries to get out of the zone. Then Wagner comes over to help him. He sends it into the neutral zone. No icing on that one. Puck ends up on net, actually, where they cover it. 9:51. Follis and Wagner in on defense. Parrish takes the face off, sends it back to Wagner. Wagner sends it in deeper. Kai McLaughlin, the other two wingers. McLaughlin now loses the zone and goes to Follis, where Kai tries to break it in again but can't get it through. St. Peter's breaks away with it. They got a guy in front of the net. Oh, great dive by who keeps the puck from going through. Now Mormon's on the ground but gets up. Rockets able to get it kicked out from in front of the net. And then St. Peter's loses the zone now and chases after it. Across the ice now, Wagner sends it into the zone. St. Peter's across the ice. Over to Follis. Follis has got speed. He enters the zone. Across the ice now. Jansen right in front of the net. Shot and deflected. Another shot by Follis. And now Parrish with the steps up to get the shot, but ends up just sending it across the boards. Jansen there. Now Ryleman. Over to Follis. Follis sends it through. It gets all the way on net and blocked out in front. Now center pass by Ryleman, but it bounces off of a player and ends up on on goal where he covers. St. Peter's covers with 8:26 left in the third. Young and Gardner come in on defense. Aikens back to Young. Young rips one, deflected off the goalie to the left. Ryleman tries to center again, and it's covered by the St. Peter's goalie. Young rips one after the face-off win by Aikens. Now back to Young again, sends it again, deflected out in front off the goalie. Now Aikens with the puck. He's got Jansen right there. He's looking to do something with the puck. He's looking to center it. Now Jansen sends it back to the point. Gardner now sends it back deep again to Jansen. Now center around. Young's pinched way up. Ryleman steps back to cover for Young. Now they switch back. Now puck back to Young, but it ends up back to St. Peter's in the middle of the boards. No Rockets there. Now St. Peter's heading quick back the other way. They shoot, but it gets deflected out in front. Now they send it around the boards where Jansen's right there. He passes it up, bounces off Aikens, who goes for a line change where Giorgio just come in. Now Giorgio makes a move. Oh, Giorgio with the shot. Looks like he got tripped, but they didn't call anything. Now Giorgio. I'm not sure what just happened there. It looked like they scored, but they blew the whistle before they scored, so they didn't score. But the puck wasn't covered, so I guess we're still at 2-1 with 7 minutes left in the third period. Benoit and Salmon's in on defense, Helwig, Giorgio, and Alexander in on offense. Salmons makes a play there to keep the puck from entering, or from a shot getting made. Salmon sends it across now. Picked up by St. Peter's in their zone. They make a pass. Giorgio's right there. Now Benoit sends it across the ice and deep. No icing, or no offsides, I mean. Goalie steps out. Salmon steps up, gets it. Now they're heading back the other way. Benoit makes a play. Nice play by Benoit to get it out of the zone. Now Giorgio to Helwig. Helwig to Giorgio, and then they lose it over to St. Peter's. Now back to Salmons at center ice. He sends it back up to Alexander where the Rockets have reset and entered the zone again. Alexander makes a move, sends it over to Giorgio. Giorgio sends it to the point, but nobody's there. Oh, man. Now Parrish to Fallis to Giorgio. Giorgio makes another move. Over to Parrish. Parrish sends it in deep now. .5:30 left in the game. Plenty of time left for things to happen here. Now St. Peter's makes a pass. Fallis there to enter it up to McLaughlin. McLaughlin goes towards the slot. Shot deflected in front by St. Peter's, and then the goalie kicks it to the right. Now St. Peter's back with it. Parrish gets a stick on it. Fallis rifles one from the point. Now Ryleman steps up. He centers it. Now Parrish again in the corner. He's looking to center it. He does center it to McLaughlin in the slot. Wide right. Another shot. Wide left. Now McLaughlin again. Parrish in the corner. He sends it back to McLaughlin. McLaughlin sends it up to the point, but it's intercepted. Now St. Peter's. Great play by Flawless. No penalty called. Now up to Downs. Downs passes across to McLaughlin. They can't quite get it out of the zone. Now they do. St. Peter's resets and gets no offsides on the play. Then the Rockets send it back into the neutral zone. Now Flawless picks up speed. Crosses the red line. Now the blue line. He's got it. He shoots it. And goes off the goalie's glove. Now Akins gets tripped, and they're going to call that one. Tripping on St. Peter's is going to give the Rockets a power play with 3:50 left in the game. Now the Rockets on a power play for a minute and a half. And they blow the puck dead. Hellwig's going to get a penalty for... Well... Now Hellwig with the penalty. So penalties matching now.
7-minute penalty. Put it on the board, please.
Salmons sends it into the neutral zone. St. Peter's picks it up, though. End up, both teams have a penalty right now, so it's 4-on-4. Now Giorgio, he's got Alexander. Can't quite get the pass over to him. Now he sends it. Puck right in front of the net. Alexander can't get to it either. Now Young pinches up, loses the zone. St. Peter's is heading back the other way. Salmon sends it back into the neutral zone. .248 left in the game. Oh! Parrish on the face-off. Shot from the point. Follis there. He sends it off the boards and into the neutral zone all the way to the other side of the ice. That's going to be icing. Ryleman with the shot there that ends up bouncing off the shoulder of the goalie and up into the net for to blow the play dead. 1:13 left in the game. Aikens on the face-off. Salmons and Wagner now in on defense. That's a different line than they usually play. Aikens and Ryleman and Jansen in on offense. Shot. Bounces off the goalie. Oh, right in front of the Jansen with the puck right in front of the net. And he gets thrown down. Now heading back the other way, it's Salmons and Wagner. A great stick by Wagner. And Jansen gets back on sides. And that's going to be icing on the Rockets. 49.4 seconds left in the game. Rockets bring in Follis and Young now. Giorgio, Hellwig, and Alexander on offense. St. Peter's pulls their goalie for an empty net. Whoop, whoop. Face off, St. Peter's wins it. Shot, rifled, wide right. Young sends it up the boards. Now Hellwig's trying to get it through. They get into the neutral zone. St. Peter's resets. 35 seconds left. Oh, Hellwig tries to get it out of the zone. Now, St. Peter's shot. Wide right. Now Giorgio in the corner gets smashed. There we go, 10 seconds. Oh, come on. That's a way early whistle. They could have let that go and we would have been done with the game. No fighting on the play. Puck was still moving around and they blow the whistle with 10 seconds left. Ten seconds left in the game. Face off here inside the Rocket zone. Pulled goalie. Rockets send it to the other side of the ice. 4.7 seconds left now in the game. Rockets just need to do that one more time and they're going to come away with the win. Hellwig now on the face-off. Key face-off win for Hellwig here.
That'll do it.
Oh!
Nice! Wait, what are we talking about?
Shot on net, and Mormon kicks it out to the side, but they blow the whistle anyway. 0.7 seconds left in the game. And that's going to do it tonight. Rockets are going to come away with the win, 2-1 over St. Peter's. Rockets excited about anybody